Now we have on the other end of the line everybody's favorite call-in personality, Steve Kent. Mr. Kent, you're on the air.
I wish that were true, Bill.
What do you mean? I thought that's the reason you called in to express your point of view, is because it's by popular demand.
Yeah, I wish that were true. I do enjoy calling in, though, and I appreciate the there's a lot of messages that we do need to get out there. And today I wanted to chat with you about a news release I saw late last week from Ms. Gerry Rogers about some of the budget impact on Newfoundland and Labrador housing.
Yeah.
And I was rather bothered by some of what I read because it's simply not true. So I'd like to respond to that if I could.
Okay, and what are you disputing in what she said?
You know, there's multiple pieces of her release that are simply misleading. You know, she says quite blatantly in her release that there's no money for new social housing in that budget, and it's an absolute lie, Bill. We're in the third year of an affordable housing program. This year, I think we're investing between $5 and $6 million into that program, which is generating new housing units in Newfoundland and Labrador. Mm-hmm. She talks about the need for seniors rental assistance. Well, we've maintained every dollar for the rent supplement program. It hasn't been cut by one single dollar, and most of which goes to seniors. There's about 1,700 rent supplements annually in Newfoundland and Labrador, and the vast majority of those rent supplements, Bill, go directly to seniors. So again, Ms. Rogers is creating fear, and she's making statements that just simply aren't true.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know,
or I can jump in, whatever you think.
Yeah, I'll let you jump in. You go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve, for that. Let me ask you this question. I hear from you and others on the PC side of the House, including the Premier, who downplay the effect of these cuts and often say that so-and-so in the opposition doesn't know what they're talking about, or they're stating misleading points, and they're telling lies. You name it. If all of that is so, how do you account for, as a savvy politician yourself, Steve, how do you account for the very, very loud, vociferous public reaction to this budget?
Well, first and foremost, I think we have to get the facts out there, and I have no problem having an informed debate with anybody about the facts, that's based on the facts. I think in this situation we're in now, when we're trying to transition government to a more efficient and effective delivery of programs, that's not going to be easy, and there's going to be some discontent registered until people really start to see the benefits of such transitions. But I really believe that once Newfoundlanders and Labradorians see our plans working and see some of these plans through this budget come into effect, I think the views captured in the recent poll will certainly change. I mean, nobody wants to be down in the polls, but we're definitely fixed on making sure, our focus is definitely fixed on making sure that we have a secure future in this province.
So if I'm reading you correctly, the public reaction is based on the public sort of putting the ignorance, I don't mean in the employed term, but it's lack of knowledge. They're reacting in ignorance of what really the government is providing and what in fact has been cut back. They're overreacting because they don't have the facts. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that's to some degree, Bill. I mean, the province's fiscal situation currently requires us to make difficult decisions. We're in a time when revenues have decreased significantly. We have to bring our expenditures in line. And because of some of the misinformation that's being spread by the opposition, there's increased fear and anxiety. So even when you look at housing, I mean, we've invested over $100 million in social housing. We've done renovations and improvements to about 70% of our social housing dwellings. Our wait list has been reduced from over 4,300 people to less than 1,000 over the past 6 years. So our investment in housing is making a meaningful difference, and our commitment to housing is quite clear in this budget as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your point of view, Steve. How do you think you're going to put yourselves back up in the polls again? Because no matter what you say, the public reaction does not seem to be what you might say being smoothed over or being sort of mollified. I mean, there seems to be discontent, maybe because we were saying so often that we were a half province, and suddenly here we are slicing, cutting, and cutting back so drastically. How are you going to put yourself up in the polls before the next election?
It's easy to be popular. It's easy to do things that'll drive the province into debt once again and make government popular in the short term. But that's not what we're all about, and that's not what this Premier's all about. So we're going to be efficient in the services and programs we're providing. We're going to be innovative and come up with new and better ways to deliver the services that matter to people. And we're going to be strategic in our investments because we know we need to bring spending to sustainable levels. We know we need to we need to reduce the debt. We know we have to ensure a bright future for my children and grandchildren. And so we're going to stick to our principles. We're going to deliver on the priorities that matter to people in the province, and they're reflected in that budget. When you see the investments in healthcare and education and economic diversification and low taxation, these are the things that, for listening to the people of the province, that we've concluded are what matter, and that's exactly what we're going to stay focused on, despite the fear and anxiety being created by the opposition.
All right, Steve Kent, thank you very much. Nice talking to you as usual, and to hear your point of view.
Thanks. I appreciate the opportunity.
Anytime. All the best.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I say anytime, but that was kind of a little bit of a slip. I don't mean any time that the spirit moves you. I mean within reason. We like to hear from Pop. And why wouldn't we? To see what they're all about, what the colour of their jib is, who we should be voting for or not voting for, and whether they are making any sense. That's all the sort of reaction we get when we hear from the